Hey guys, I'm Seth Perkins here at our family-owned butcher shop in Creston, Ohio, Whitefeather Meats. I'm one of the bearded butchers, and today we're going to show you how we skin a beef. We've had a lot of requests, people wanting to know beef butchering from start to finish. You've seen the video of us processing it, so today we're going to show you how to remove the hide. First of all, talk about our knives, 10-inch polished steel. In my scabbard, I have Victorinox. This used to be a 6-inch semi-stiff. I've used it so much that we've honed it down to a lot smaller blade, maybe just over 3 inches. I like to use a shorter blade to remove the legs and things like that, so you'll see me use this a lot. Then I also have my 6-inch. This one's still pretty much intact. I'll use this to split the hide, etc. And then I also have, this is a 6-inch Victorinox. It's a little bit different blade. It's wider, it's a straight blade, and this is what I'll be using for all of my siding. So let's start at the back end here, and let's just get started. So the first thing I do is I take my smaller Victorinox knife, make a cut through the hide, cutting that tendon, and then I start at the top of this leg, working my way down to about that point, stopping, coming around to this side, and simply doing the same thing. This is where you have to be real careful that you don't stab yourself as you're pulling the knife towards you. So you'll see me periodically through this process washing my utensils, keeping myself clean. We also have 180-degree water over here where I can sterilize my blade. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start, we're going to go up through the underbelly of this animal. One long continuous cut, and now here again I'm going to wash my knife. Now we're going to start on the first leg, keeping the hair pulled back as you go, making sure you don't cut the tendon here on the hock, because you're going to need that to lift this animal up later. Once you get that skinned out, we cut a hole right here between the hock and the tendon. Right here there's going to be a knuckle similar to a deer. If you just score this tissue right on top of that knuckle, you can break it. Continuing to skin this hock down, taking the hold of the bone and cutting through the hide. So that's leg one. Going to go ahead and get started on this side. Removing the second leg. Now that we have both hind legs removed, we will get started what we call siding the animal. So starting inside the hind quarter, we'll just stay between the fat and the tissue, working our way around. I like to use my hand to separate this seam where I made this cut, because what that's going to do is that's going to pull that hair back from the carcass, keeping it much, much cleaner as you skin. We'll just work our way all the way up to this brisket area. I like to take the hide and pull it towards myself and then use downward pressure with my right hand holding my knife to do the skinning. So we'll just work our way all the way down. Removing this hide, making these nice long strokes, moving to the back, Continuing to skin around this hock. We want this hide to fall away from the meat. This will keep the animal a lot cleaner throughout the process. At this point, we want to remove the hide off the leg. You can see I'm pulling the hide away from the meat, which keeps it free from contamination as we go through. So now that we have one side done, we're going to swap over and do side number 2. I like to periodically hit my knife on my polished steel. What this does is this sort of rolls the edge back into place. So you'll see me sharpen my knife occasionally. If you don't have a good knife and you don't have a good steel, make sure you grab one. Go to www.beardedbutchers.com, get yourself a knife, get yourself a steel. The knife we sell on our website can certainly do the job. So just a little tip for you. So I'm going to continue working my way down this side of the carcass. And if you use this procedure, you can see that up the middle of this carcass, there's no contamination at all. And if there was, we would want to trim that off. We would not want to wash it, because if you wash it, that only spreads the contamination around. It doesn't remove it. Working our way down this side, making these nice long strokes. Not cutting a hole in the hide and not slashing your knife into the meat as we go. So if you're doing this at home on the farm, make yourself a cradle for it to lay in. It's a lot easier to have the animal lying on its back with its feet in the air versus trying to do it while it's hanging. So weld yourself up a little cradle. It doesn't have to have wheels on it. It can be stationary. It's just going to be a lot easier to have a good work surface to start with. So as you can see here, if you do get a little contamination on this, you can trim it off as you skin. So you can see I just removed what little bit it got on there through that process. Continuing to work my way down all the way to this front shoulder area. So now that the skinning process is done, I'll show you how we split the brisket. Then we'll pull it back, we'll put it on our hoist, and we'll show you the rest. All right, so this is an important step to do before you lift this animal up, remove the rest of the hide and the entrails. So you're going to want to do this. You want to take your knife and you want to split this brisket. Put a nice cut through here. Now we will grab a saw. You can use a handsaw for this if you'd like. That way everything's opened up real nice and the entrails will fall right out. So the next step, we're going to lift this up and we'll continue to take the hide off. Follow along. All right, it's time to introduce the next generation of butchers here at Whitefeather Meats. They don't have beards yet, but I think that they will someday. Brady, Ben, Logan, and Luke. Our nephew Spencer's behind the camera, so you can't see him. The next generation of butchers here. Let's go, boys. Oh, there you go. Nice job. So now that we have the animal lifted up in the air a little bit, we're going to go ahead and start removing the hide off the rest of this animal. You want to cut around both sides of the anus area, removing this skin on the tail. 180-degree water, keep your knife blade nice and clean. We want to drop this bung portion down inside this carcass, and it'll be easier to take the entrails out. So now, let's just get started doing some skinning. You want to be careful that you don't score into the meat right here, into this back fat. This is where some of your prime steaks are going to be located, so you definitely don't want to put any big gouges in the meat or anything like that. So we'll just sort of slowly work our way down the back on this first side, and then we'll move over to the other side and do the exact same thing. You can see how I'm just using the tip of my knife, working my way down like that. We'll move over here. Do the same thing. And you'll feel when your knife goes through the other side, and you know you've made it all the way through this back. Slowly working your way down, not scoring that meat. We want to work our way around this tail. Make sure we don't get any contamination on that. Now we'll lift it in the air. Now that this animal is up in the air, we will just continue to work this hide off. And since the hide is hanging down, it has gravity in its favor, and you can just simply take your knife, working your way around this hide, and it'll pretty much just fall off. Working our way around this neck until this hide has been completely removed. Just like that. So there it is. That's an entire beef that we removed the hide on using a knife. So you can certainly do this at home. Remember those techniques. If you're doing a farm butcher, build yourself a cradle, put that animal on its back. It's so much easier. And as you can see down through this carcass, when we first started, there was some contamination on the hide. However, this carcass is completely clean. If there was any contamination on here at all, we would simply trim it off and discard it before we wash this carcass. So what we will do now is we will remove the entrails. We will split this animal in half. We will put it across our scale, and it's going to go into our cooler where it'll dry age for anywhere from 14 to 21 days. Some of the primals on this carcass are going to age up to 6 weeks. This animal was locally raised right here in Wayne County, Ohio. It comes into our USDA inspected establishment. We do all the processing. We do humane harvesting all right here by the Perkins family at Whitefeather Meats. We hope you guys enjoy the video. Stay tuned for more. There's much more to come. We want to make this the best butcher channel on YouTube, period. So we want to share our knowledge with you. There's a lot of folks getting into home butchering these days, and we hope this helps. Also, don't forget, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell for notifications. There's tons more to come. Follow us on Facebook, Bearded Butcher Blend on Instagram. We love having you. So until next time, see ya.